Now, following the launch of the trade under the African Continental Free Trade Area, the Ministry of International Relations and Trade, in conjunction with the Ministry of Industries, Mines and Energy, has been rolling out business consultations aimed at engaging the business community to create awareness and ensure effective implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Now, one business person is now joining us on the show. That is Peter-Hain Kazapua, who is the owner of Uakii Wilderness Safari. Mr. Kazapua, a very good morning to you, and thank you so much for making time to talk to us.
Good morning to you all, and good morning to the listeners.
All right. First things first, how would you describe the business engagement there in Omaheke region, and what stood out for you?
I think it was a very, one would applaud the minister for coming down to the grassroots. It was a great engagement. Really, when the presence of the minister and her team was very, wonderful. The contributions and the dialogue that was discussed yesterday was quite informative and enlightening. So these are the things that we would really encourage other sectors to be able to do that as well. You can also notice that the local communities they had that hungerness of information to be able to share with the minister's office and so on. And one will perhaps also recommend that this must be carried on by the office of the government, but as well as the GOBABIS municipality for engaging smaller businesses as well.
Yeah. What was one key message that stood out for you?
The local content, people supporting local businesses, people encouraging local businesses to be on par with the creating businesses, and also youth coming into the sectors, different type of sectors. That was very key and very important as well. If the leadership of the organization is willing to assist in many other ways, it also carries weight. So the minister itself was very eager to assist that, and that was key for us.
We lost you for a second there, Mr. Kazapua, but would you say that the government should keep engaging business people, especially from grassroots levels?
Yes, surely. You could see the atmosphere in the hall itself. It was very much positive, and the really government should be able to do that on a frequent basis as well.
Looking at the type of business that you do, I mentioned earlier on that you are the owner of Uakii Wilderness Safaris, seeing that it is a tourism business. What would you say are some of the challenges you face on a daily basis?
Yeah, we are in a tourism space in the Omaheke region. Specifically, we are specialized in cultural and community-based tourism, and we are working on the new concept called agri-tourism as well. We had a lot of challenges, but that doesn't deter us for pushing on. We must encourage, the government must create conducive environment for businesses in tourism to really go into what is called a sense of ownership. We must move away from black entrepreneurs, for that matter, to only be able to drive around lodges to pick up people from the airport. But we must move into where government gives us opportunities on resettlement farms for us to be able to create lodges, because tourism, it can be also man-made. So we must move into even an opportunity through resettlement farms to own land, to be able to convert those land into the tourism attractions and also lodging, because that is quite a challenge. Access to market, it's also a challenge because a lot of local communities are unable to go and sell their products at the international trade fairs abroad, and that needs to be encouraged by the government as well. And financial institutions, I'm always hearing a notion of you can start a business without funding, but it's the other way. You need funding to be able to start your business. And the challenges that we're also getting in terms of that is that financial institutions, specifically those institutions that was created by government to kind of help local communities in tourism, like Environmental Investment Fund, like Bellatrix, like DBN. These organizations must really come forth to the regions and really assist local communities in tourism. But most importantly, as much as we are talking about local content, we must also talk about land ownership, sense of ownership for tourism entrepreneurs in the tourism sector. And that is quite a big challenge as well.
Yeah, but from all that you just mentioned now, what would you say are some of the changes, major changes that you'd want to see as Namibia participates in the free trade area?
I think free trade area is a good initiative. It must be handled very correctly, and issues of crime must be looked at. Issues of visas must be looked at. Issues of effectiveness in terms of when people are arriving at the airports, and so on must be looked at. And job creation is very much key also in under this free trade African Continental Free Trade Agreement, because these are things that we need to look at. Diversification in different trading partners within the African continent itself, value addition. These are things that we really needs to look at, and this is an opportunity through the continental African trade that we need to really take on board.
Now, the tourism industry is a sector that Namibia can confidently, what do you call this, trade in. But what would you say are some of the barriers that are in place that can perhaps hinder its full participation when it comes to the African Continental Free Trade Area?
I think the issues of visa requirements is very key. If that can be sorted out, that will also that will also be a positive element as well. Issues of when people are arriving at our borders, how they have been treated and how we handle that process would be something that would really boost the tourism sector. And those are the issues that we really need to look at, because the tourism is in itself, it's a very sensitive industry. So for us to be able to make sure that this agreement is going to be a positive one, we need to look at crime rates and try to reduce our crime rates when our tourists are in the country. But very importantly, we must be able to trust one another in terms of as an African continent when we trade amongst each other. That is very important.
Yeah. Lastly, perhaps before we let you go, any advice for those interested in this sector, especially those in the Omaheke region?
Yeah, tourism. Tourism is everything. Tourism really. You have health tourism, you have sports tourism, you have cultural tourism. You have tourism is so diverse. So basically, we are encouraging those ones that want to come into the industry to do so legally, so to register through the legal bodies that are there. But again, it also goes back to government creating that condition environment to access to the services and products that one can that we able to offer in Namibia. So it's a vast industry. It's quite a vast industry. There's a new concept that I think is coming in, agricultural tourism that people can do in rural communities, in villages. So it's quite vast. So we are encouraging local people to really come and invest or start tourism products in GOBABIS as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for making time to talk to us this morning.
Thank you for having us.